This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
So life isn't exactly easy when you're diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And one of the things that really stands out is your energy level and fatigue. It's probably the most challenging part of it. We're going to talk about that today with somebody that offers coaching for those afflicted with autoimmune challenges. I didn't know it existed until I met her. And I met the best, by the way. I got lucky. She's got 50 years of healthcare experience. She's got personal experience in dealing with autoimmune diseases, and she's back with us, Cheryl Patterson, on the program today. How is everything going with you?
Everything is going fine. Yes, I've got two autoimmune diseases that I'm dealing with. I've been dealing with them for decades. And so, and I'm a registered nurse. So I've worked in healthcare for 50 years. Now I've retired from that arena, and I am a health and wellness coach specializing in working with people that have autoimmune diseases.
Wow. So this is something, and I know it was years, but decades in dealing with it. Do you like others have those flare-ups, kind of the ebb and flow situation?
Yep, absolutely. And so what's so interesting about autoimmune diseases is, there are over 100 different diseases, and depending on what body system or tissues are involved, you'll have different symptoms or different problems. It varies. And for certain diseases like MS, which I've had for 38 years, there's such a variety of different symptoms. And again, there'll be flare-ups with one kind of problem, then it'll disappear, some other problem will come up. So again, this is what coaching is all about, helping people deal with the challenges of their particular disease.
What's the first thing you tell people that you coach when they confront you and they say, "Hey, listen, Cheryl, I don't know. I have no energy again today. I'm just feeling tired. It's been, days."
And what I say is, yes, that is the number one symptom and complaint for anyone with an autoimmune disease, and quite frankly, any kind of chronic illness, because it's that disease that's robbing our energy at the cellular level. That disease process at the cellular level is just stealing our energy from our bodies. And so it is the number one thing that I deal with. And in fact, I do have a 10-week Power Up Energy coaching course that I do. It's on my website, lifeenhancementcoaching.org. So that's one of the coaching programs I have, focuses on energy and fatigue. And what I start out with is actually a questionnaire that I've developed. It's 36 questions. And this is not a questionnaire that I did with ChatGPT or because I'm a researcher, I actually went through all the different literature that's out there with different questionnaires and tools that are used to assess energy and fatigue. And I picked and chose different questions that I thought related most to people that have autoimmune diseases. So this is a unique questionnaire that I've developed, and I added some of my own questions. So it's 36 questions. And if someone wants to take this questionnaire, they can go on the website and schedule a free 45-minute coaching session with me. And we could go through this questionnaire, and then we review what are the major issues, times of day, activities that are affecting their energy level and their fatigue. So that's what I start out with. When I talk with people, I talk about their energy, their fatigue, what kind of work they do, what their daily routine is like. There's a lot of things that go into it.
This is just part of what you do. You also have a 1-day VIP session where you just, it's all you and that person working together, identifying challenges.
Yes, I do. Because there are, and that usually works well for people that are high-level executives. They don't have a lot of time. They don't want to commit to 12 weeks of coaching sessions. They don't want to commit to any kind of, but they've got an urgent issue, something that is really bothering them.
Mm.
And we can focus on that for 8 hours in one day. And they can do some things that will make a difference that they can feel just with a full day, 8 hour day of some coaching strategies that we work on.
Even though everybody's body is different, every autoimmune disease is different and manifests in different ways. The reason for the fatigue and the energy level, is it similar there?
Yeah, what's really interesting about fatigue is, you and I had a session a few weeks ago or a month ago about stress. We talked about the different kinds of stress.
Sure.
And one of the fundamental causes for fatigue is what's called an allostatic load. The allostatic load is the cumulative physiologic wear and tear that occurs when our body is trying to adapt to different stressors over time. And those different stressors can be major challenges that we have dealt with at work or in our family, or it can just be ordinary everyday stressors that we experience on the job, as well as any health conditions we have.
Sure.
So all that together adds up to this load that we're dealing with. And that will be different in everyone, depending on those different features and aspects I just mentioned. But the other thing that is one of the fundamental causes of fatigue is our mind and body's capacity together to handle stressors that are affected by a disease, certain conditions you have, your individual personality. If you have a history of trauma of some kind, those things that are personal to you will also affect your fatigue and your energy level.
Wow.
So these are the two areas that we need to take a look at. But yes, we're all dealing with everyday stressors, and it's just universal.
I think a lot of people look at autoimmune diseases and think it's mostly physical. How much of this translates to your mental state? Again, the things we talk about, the traumas in our lives, the traumas we may have had in our childhood, even all of that. How much does that play?
Oh, it plays a great deal. Because yes, there are issues that we're all dealing with every day. But when you're talking about autoimmune diseases, again, depending on when you develop your disease, some people will develop an autoimmune disease in their teenage years or young adult or middle age. And then if on top of that, you have a history of trauma, childhood trauma, affects people the rest of their life, or some other kind of trauma that you've experienced just even recently or remotely, those kinds of factors will enter into the stress load you're dealing with, and therefore the fatigue that you will feel. And so one of the things that I start with is just sleep, restorative sleep that we all need. So when I begin to talk with people, I talk with them about whether or not they have an evening or a bedtime routine, because we all should have a sort of winding down routine every day to get us ready to sleep. So, and again, that depends on our chronotype. Our chronotype is what really dictates whether we're a morning person or a late morning person. When is your energy level the best? And that differs in each of us. And then what is your work schedule? How early do you have to get up for work in the morning? Those kinds of factors. So depending on the factors that play into your sleep routine, you need to have a bedtime routine that begins at a certain time. And you really should allow 2 to 3 hours for your evening routine to do things like don't eat for 2 to 3 hours before you go to sleep. Although we all start to get the munchies. If you stay up too late, you start to get hungry again. But you should limit what you eat before you go to bed. you should kind of stop listening to certain things that keep you all charged up. Like they suggest no more emailing, no more text messaging, turn off the news channel. Just wind down and stop listening or watching things that keep you charged up. Then, of course, sleep specialists talk about how you should sleep in a room that's completely dark, and it should be 68 degrees Fahrenheit or less. So it should be a nice cool room that you sleep in. And again, we talked about minimizing food intake. Caffeine, you should stop caffeine after noon or at least by 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Minimize alcohol intake after dinner.
Mm.
And then again, we're all learning about the effect of blue light and green lights with our phones and things in the room that keeps our brain awake. So you need to eliminate those sources of blue light and green light in your bedroom. Get those devices turned off and out of the room. So those kinds of things will help you fall asleep, sleep more deeply, and have a more restorative kind of sleep. So those are the kinds of things that I work on with my clients.
And a lot of that, from my memory, is very universal for, quality sleep, not just autoimmune people challenged by that, but just in general. And then I think it goes down to the next layer. What works for you personally? I sleep with socks on. I know it
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but I can't sleep with the same socks on.
So I know what you mean, right? And there are a lot of conditions where you will have pain or different kinds of sensations in your feet where wearing socks or something like that helps.
Hmm.
So again, it's individual, like you say. You need to kind of find those things that help you fall more deeply asleep and stay asleep.
Well, sleep is so important just for functioning in any capacity. Now add, a disease or possibly two. What else would you suggest for people that are having energy challenges or feeling fatigue?
Another one, this is counterintuitive and it has to do with movement or exercise. And what I've learned is that exercise has now become sort of um, a negative term. People think of exercise as something that's painful and takes self-discipline, and they don't like that word. So movement is the word that's now replacing the word exercise. But movement is something that helps with fatigue. People think that by working out or being too active will deplete them of their energy, and it's just the opposite. If you have a certain movement routine, it will actually energize you. And so when I talk with my clients about that, I talk about different kinds of movement and things that they can do and a schedule that would be best for them, the time of day that's best. And then it doesn't have to be every day. If you even do 20 minutes of movement of some kind 3 times a week, that makes a difference in your energy level. It's amazing. It doesn't take that much. And probably the best type of movement for all of us, especially as we're aging, is stretching exercises. And so there's a number of different stretching exercises that I give to my clients, and they have information about the different kinds of gluteal stretches and quadriceps stretches and spinal stretches and soleus stretches, your Achilles tendon, all these different areas where you just go through a routine with 5 minutes for each of these different stretching areas in your body, and it will energize you. But the other kind of exercise that's good for people is balance exercises.
Mm.
And balance is the one thing that can be changed most easily and most quickly. If you have balance problems with, again, if you're aging or if you have some ambulatory problems because of MS or because of some problem, working on your balance will energize you and you'll feel the effects very quickly. And so I work with my clients about standing balance and moving balance. So there's different exercises and things that you can do that help your standing balance and your moving balance. And we work on those and have those as a part of your 3 days a week routine. And that helps you feel more energized and stronger.
I believe it's also a psychological thing because when you feel like
Yes.
you're in a little bit better shape, you feel
Mhm.
better about yourself. You might have some more energy. And just side note here, the older you get, the more you realize that the balance thing and also the mobility thing goes away.
Yes,
Yeah, in a big
right.
way.
You are so right about that. It is so much a psychological thing to feel. And that's why just even doing something a little bit
Mm,
makes you feel like, hey, I'm doing something. I'm being proactive. I'm doing
totally.
something for myself.
Like you don't want
I,
to feed into the disease and just say, I have, and I'm not minimizing anything, but I have this situation, this condition. I'm just getting older. It's just the way no, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way.
yes. And I've made some video posts about that very topic, and I've posted on LinkedIn and Facebook to talk about that very subject that you just mentioned. And so, again, we need to be not letting our disease define us. Just look at the things you still can do and do them. Find the things that you enjoy and that you like doing, and it will energize you.
When we talk about the fatigue and just being tired, how much does diet come into play with that?
Well, I was just going to bring up that topic because it has a lot to do with it.
Mm,
So that was my next topic to talk about foods, meals, eating regimens, and supplements. That's a very big topic for people with autoimmune diseases. Now, there is a thing called anti-inflammatory diet because autoimmune diseases, at their very fundamental basis, are all about
yep.
inflammatory process in your body. And that inflammatory process goes on in different cells, different organs. And so you want to avoid things in the diet that are inflammatory, like sugar, like dairy. And so, again, you want to find those anti-inflammatory diets that give you energy. I have a 4-day energy experiment plan that I give to my clients, and what it is a 4-day rotating diet that rotates different kinds of vegetables, different kinds of protein, different kinds of carbs in different amounts. And then they keep a log of their energy level after each of these days where they've rotated through these different meals so that you can identify what foods make you feel energized and what foods make you feel sluggish. We need to pay attention to that
Mm,
because that is different for each person. Certainly, there are some foods that are good for energy levels, like almonds and bananas, um, eggs, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, rolled oats, oatmeals, things like that really have a positive effect on your energy. And then, of course, there's different vitamins and minerals that supplements that people take as well. But protein is probably important because what really affects our energy level is our blood sugar levels.
mm.
And so you really need to learn how to control the sugar you're eating and how much you're eating, when you're eating it. Really eliminate sugar as much as possible in your diet so that you don't have these blood sugar levels that are up and down and up and down and cause you to have that mid-afternoon slump, which most of us have after
Is
lunch.
is it true that sugar is one of the biggest causes of inflammation in our bodies?
It is. It is. And that's why if you can eliminate sugar from your diet, there's a book, the author is J.J. Virgin, and she's written this book, The Sugar Impact Diet, that helps you eliminate sugar from your diet. And I used her book and I followed her program because I am a sugarholic. I mean, until I decided to take my diet seriously, I was a dessert person. I was a sugar person. I was a candy person. So it was real hard for me to eliminate that from my diet. But when I followed JJ Virgin's book and her plan, I was able to, in about, I'm going to say maybe a month, really eliminate, and it is true that more you eliminate sugar from your diet, the less craving you have for it. I found that to be true. So I
Same,
didn't have the cravings for it. So
same.
yes, eliminate sugar from your diet.
Even sodium. I have not touched a salt shaker in, I'm trying to be accurate here. 50 years. I don't even know. And my
Mhm.
father used to get on my case about it. It's like, hey, put salt on things. It's already in stuff. Now, if something is maybe mildly salty, I'm more sensitive. Like, whoa, wait, that's a lot. Same thing on the sugar thing. Yeah, I like an occasional ice cream. Chocolate shake is my thing. Many times I'll have it and I'm like, that wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I'm good for a couple of months now. I'll get back to that.
Exactly, right. And that happened to me too.
Mm,
I would, after staying away from sugar, I would have a piece of pie or something, and I'd say, you know what, that wasn't as rewarding to me as I thought it was going to be. I can
yeah.
live without it now for a couple more months. Right,
Hmm.
exactly. Yes, right. Yes.
It works. It's a mindset. It's just you don't need it like you thought you needed it. Any other thoughts on fatigue?
Well, the other thing I want to mention is when I was a nurse and working with people that had uh, arthritis, especially rheumatoid arthritis, what we would teach as I was an instructor with the Arthritis Foundation, we would teach what's called energy conservation methods. And this is an area that occupational therapists teach. What you do is teach people how in the activities of daily living, and those activities of daily living is the term that's used to describe all the things we do in the course of the day, whether it's preparing meals, going to work, house cleaning, transportation, all the different kinds of things that you do, and dressing, ambulating, all those things. We teach people, and now I'm working with my clients to find ways to do things with minimum motion and conserve energy. So that, for example, just the way you have your kitchen organized, you may not realize how inefficient your kitchen is organized and how many steps you're wasting
Mm,
to get the dishes to set the table
sure.
or to make your dinner because you have everything spread out in places or your pots and pans are so far away. So those kinds of little things that you can help people with energy conservation methods in their activities of daily living that will save some energy. So that's another area I work on with people.
You are your superpower is uncovering these little things that we don't realize. Like even the organization thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you talk to energy experts, and I'm a big believer in energy, we're all energy, everything, this pen, your chair, it's all energy. When you have that stuff all in disarray, boxes here, you're blocking the flow of energy, which is actually putting a little bit of stress on you, whether you realize it or not. And then
Exactly.
add the everyday life stress and just now multiply it.
Yeah.
And then you have the autoimmune situation.
And yes, and it accumulates. So, yes, so I talk to my clients about their office at work or wherever they work. Are there some ways that you can organize your office differently so it's more efficient, requires less energy? So, again, as you said, it's, the organization of your environment.
Yeah.
And that's an ebook that I just wrote that's on my website about decluttering. Clutter itself is a stress on us to have to live in a cluttered environment, a disorganized environment. So I have an ebook I wrote that helps people and has a lot of tools, has an assessment tool in there so that you can organize your home, your yard, your office,
Mm,
organize it, declutter it, and save yourself a lot of wasted energy
yeah. And stress.
and
All of that.
stress.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Cheryl, how do we connect with you? If somebody is going through some challenges and just even wants to start a conversation to see if this is
Yes.
a right method to kind of alleviate some of the challenges, how do they do that?
Go to my website, lifeenhancementcoaching.org. And I just recently revised it. So I've got, 4 or 5 pages there where I talk about my different products and services. And on each page, there are some links to schedule a free 45-minute coaching session with me. So just go to my website, lifeenhancementcoaching.org, and go onto one of the links and schedule a session with me and we'll talk.
I never realized that this organization would even come up in this conversation today, but it's so real. Like it's like, it's almost as if you're picking up each rock and looking underneath it. Oh, well, that's probably part of the reason why you feel fatigue. Oh, look at this one over here. Let me pick this rock up over here. Oh, sugar in your life. You love dessert. Well, that's probably not that we're taking anything away from anybody and things
No.
you love, but hey, I think I'm a little organized. I look around, I gotta clean. I'm not even kidding. Like and it's overdue. And I think subconsciously it's stressing me out a little bit.
You know what, Steve? I love that. I love that metaphor, looking under each rock. Can I use that?
Please.
I'll use that myself because I think that's a perfect metaphor. You need to look under each rock, see
Yeah.
where you. Yep.
There's a lot there. And then even on your website, I think I'm on the coaching services page. There's about 15 different items there. And those are the rocks. Talking about
Yeah.
your diet, talking about the organization, of course, your purpose in life, all of
Yeah.
that stuff. And you know what's interesting? A lot of this applies to anybody, whether you have an autoimmune disease or not. Yeah.
So true. Yes.
Mm.
Thank you.
Cheryl,
Right.
thank you. Thanks for being here, all the insight, and we'll catch up again soon.
Yes. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Steve. All
We'll be
right.
right back.
Thank you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.